Hi everyone, today I'm going to show you how to extract the HVP files of the game ObsCure and how to modify the files, like the models, the textures, that kind of things. First I'm going to explain you a bit how it works. First we're going to have to go to Steam and click on Manage and View Local Files. This way we will have access to the folder where our game is installed. As you can see, we have some HVP files. We have cache pack, data pack, kinepack, and stream pack. These files contain information. They contain most of the data that the game needs, like the models, the textures, and that kind of things. When the game is launched, the game searches for these files, for these HVP files. If it finds them, then it loads the content that they contain. So first we need to extract all the files, the models, the textures, and everything from these files. To do that, we need an HVP unpacker or extractor or whatever. Doesn't matter how you call it. To have access to one of these tools, you can go to the catalog channel in the Discord server, and you can search some of these tools. For example, this one will work perfectly, an hvp.exe. I don't know who did it, so I can't give credit for it, but I'm sorry. But you can go here at this link. It will take you to this old message where you can download this executable. You will have it in your download folder. Now I'm gonna create some empty folder to be able to play with these files and everything in a clean environment. This is my folder where I have all my data of the different versions of the game. So once you've extracted all the files, you'll have something similar to this. For now, let's create an empty directory. Doesn't matter how we call it. It's just we could do this just here, but I like using empty folders. Okay, I just want to make this folder to take the .exe, bring it here, and now we're gonna bring the HVPs. I would recommend to copy them and not to cut them, just to preserve the original files in their original location. So we take the stream pack, the kinepack, the data pack, and the cache pack. We copy them, Control C. We paste them, Control V. We wait. And now, in order to extract the files, we need to use this program. We could use the PowerShell or the CLI, the shell for Windows, but there's no need. We can just we can click and drag the files into the executable to extract the data. A command line interface window will appear and it will print all the extracted files. Well, in case you get this, you just have to click on more info and execute anyways. Here we have all the files that are being extracted. And once the process is completed, the window will disappear, and here we can see that the folders are being created. Once the process is finished for one of the files, before going on, what we're going to do is create a data folder. The name is very important. It must be called data. We'll see why later. And we're going to move all these folders that start with underscore to the data folder. And now we're going to continue with the process. We have already extracted data pack. Now let's go with cache pack, for example. And now the folder that has been generated, as you can see, it's common. It's the same name that this folder has, and it's totally okay. We just have to move it. And both common folders will be like merged into only one folder. Then we can go ahead with kinepack or stream pack. It doesn't really matter the order. And finally stream pack. Once we're done, well, I forgot to move all these folders, but that's not a problem. We've moved them now. Something that I forgot to mention is that this particular tool works with the HVPs of the PC version, which includes the Steam version. Uh, but I think it doesn't work with the HVP files of the Xbox and PS2 versions. There are some other tools that might work or that should work with the PS2 HVP files. I'm not sure if there's a tool for the Xbox One, but well, it doesn't really matter. For now, we're just modding the PC version, so this tool will do the trick. Now, once we have this, what we have to do is copy this folder or cut it, but I would just copy it if I were you. We copy it and we paste it on the root directory into the root directory of the where the game is installed. We're finally done for now. Why did we do all this process? Now we have this data folder, we still have these HVP files. What was the point? Well, what we actually want is running the game using the contents of this data folder instead of these HVP files. Because in order to modify the game models, the textures and all of that, we have to modify the contents of these HVP files. But the content of the HVP files is hard to modify, but extracting the files and then putting all them in a data folder where you can browse through all the folders and see each one of the files and modifying them is much easier. So now that we have this data folder, which the name of which must be data because the game will be looking for this folder, we are going to be able to launch the game using these files. But first we need to rename or delete the HVP files, because otherwise the game will take into account these files instead of this folder. The game at first looks for these files. If they exist, it uses their content. If they don't exist, it will search for a data folder with this content and then use this content. So in order to avoid that the game finds these HVP files, renaming them will be enough. There's no need to delete them. So for example, we can just name them Cache Pack 2, Data Pack 2, etc. Now the game won't be able to find these HVP files, so it will look for this folder and use its contents. To verify that this works, we can launch the game and see if the game is playable as usual. I am using DX window to play in windowed mode, but it doesn't matter, you can just play in full screen mode. We see the Mighty Rocket Studio cutscene or video. We can load some save game. And everything seems to work fine. We have the models of the weapons. We have the items. Everything seems to work fine. And the HVP files have been renamed, so there's no way that the game is using them. It's using the data folder instead. So now that we have all of these files in the data folder, we can modify them. I'm going to show you an example of what you can do by modifying the game files. First, as you may know, there's a weapon in ObsCure that you unlock when you finish the game at least once, and you can play with it in special mode. That's the Morgenstern. In the first version of the game, the Morgenstern used to be a medieval mace. But in the improved version of the game, which was released in the whole world except for Spain and Germany, the Morgenstern was changed to a kind of spiked bat. The thing is, in the Steam version of the game, the model is the one of the spiked bat, but the texture is the one of the medieval mace, making it look like glitchy. I'm gonna show you exactly what I mean. Here we are. This is the Morgenstern bat, but as you may see, the texture is not right. That's the texture of the medieval mace and the model of the spiked bat. So I'm gonna show you how to change the model and the texture. It's actually the same process. You just need to change some files with other files. So yeah, just take this as an example. First, we need to know which files must be modified in order to modify the model and the texture of the Morgenstern bat. It's not so hard to find them because the names of the folder are pretty explicit, but I'm going to show you where they are. First, if you go to Data Common and then Textures, you'll have all the textures. And this one, Bat Morg, is the texture of the Morgenstern bat. When you open it, as you can see, this is the texture of the medieval mace. As for the Morgenstern bat model, it's in Data Common Invent Weapons Beat, and it's this one, funbeat.zwo, as we can see in Blender. So here we have the files that we need to modify, batmorg and or funbeat.zwo. Be sure to make some backup of these files. In case you copied the data folder that we created when extracting the HVP files, you will already have a backup here, so no need to do it once more. Now we need to override the content of these files to swap these files with the versions of the files that we need. Like this, what we have is the texture of the medieval mace and the model of the spiked bat. Let's say at first that we want to change the in-game model so that we have the medieval mace. Well, in that case, you need the funbeat.zwo file of the medieval mace. But the thing is, you don't have access to this file if you only have the Steam version. To have access of the file that we need some version of the game that has this weapon. The only way to get this file is to have access to the files of the German-Spanish version. May it be the PS2, the Xbox, or the PC version. Once you have a copy of the PS2 or PC German-Spanish version of ObsCure, you need to extract its HVP files as we did for the Steam version. For example, in my case, here I have all the content of the HVP files of the German-Spanish version, of the PC version. Well, it looks like I only have the data cache HVP, but it looks like it's the one that I needed. So if we need the model, we go here at Invent, Weapons, Beat, and here we have the fun beat. As you can see, the content is not the same because they don't have the same size. This one is 12 kilobytes long, and this one is 25 kilobytes. So we copy this file, we paste it here, we replace the file, and once we've done this, we have changed the model. Now we can launch the game, and here we are. We have the Morgenstern bat with its correct model and the correct texture. Here it's a medieval mace. This version of the weapon is only playable in the German-Spanish version of the game. That's why we needed to have access to its files in order to change the model in the Steam version. Now let's say that we want to change the model and the texture so that it becomes the spiked bat with its correct texture and not the medieval mace anymore. So in that case, we need to restore the model to its previous state. So we go to the data folder that we created. We go to Invent, Weapons, Beat, and here we have the 25 kilobytes version. This is the spiked bat. We copy it, we paste it here, we replace the file. Now we have the model of the spiked bat and the texture of the medieval mace. Now, in order to have the correct texture of the spiked bat, we need a copy of the PS2 or PC version. It will be easier for the PC version. Of maybe the French-Italian version or the British version or the American version. With all of those versions, you can have the right texture. In my case, here I have the American PC version, and I have the data cache, common, textures, and here we have the Batmorg. It is actually the same size, so the only way to figure out that this one is the correct texture is opening the file. And when you open it, you can see that it's the texture of the spiked bat with all the blood and everything. So we copy the file, we paste it here, we replace it, and now we have the model and the texture of the spiked bat. We open the game, and here we have the Morgenstern, the spiked bat, with the model of the spiked bat, which is normally the case in the Steam version, and the correct texture. unlike the Steam version where we have the texture of the medieval mace. In this case, we have the correct texture, which we have retrieved from the American PC version. You can also use the French-Italian PC version and some other versions. That's all. That's how you modify the game files and how you extract the HVP files. I hope this helped you.